Hi, welcome to the small shed. This Saturday we're out in the garage working on the new bench. See you in a minute. Now last time we were out there I'd got the structure of the bench up and it was waiting for the top. This week I'm taking it a few stages further so that it's usable but not entirely finished, because until the rest of the garage gets sorted out I can't really fix it properly. But let's go down and have a look and see what's going on. Right, for the first time in a long while we're getting to the point where I can actually walk through one end of the garage to the other, which is a first. I put some end pieces, I don't know whether it will work or not. I've got one piece spare of this, so I've actually used one up at each end, and that will probably work for the bench. Just gives me a small ledge at the end that I'm just going to rest the remaining section on for support, and then there are two legs there that I'll just put a little frame up, so that basically it's just an open-ended lean-to that goes on the end of the bench, and then we'll put the compressor underneath and see what room I've got once that's done. I'll just make those two legs up into a little H frame just to stand on their own, and then, as I say, we'll find something for a top. I think I've got a bit of old wardrobe that will do for a top, so we'll get this frame made up first. So that's it, it's fairly simple structure. Just going to put a back rail in, probably top and bottom, just to hold it the right distance, and then all it needs is a couple of dowels or screws down into the posts there and at the other end, just to hold it all together. But it's plenty strong enough for what I want. I was going to make it 400 wide front to back, but because that piece of timber is 450 something, 455, I thought it was silly to bother cutting it down. It just makes it slightly more comfortable for somebody with a bit of a tum to get through there, but we'll manage. It will give me a bit more bench space anyway. So that seems to be working quite well for a lashed together job. I'll probably give this a light sand, but not too much, because it tends to go through the veneer rather quickly. I think that'll come up quite nicely. Just to give it an oil finish, just to keep it serviceable. Not sure about backs to this at the moment, whether I put some sort of an upstand along the back or not. a lot of that will wait until the wall's been dealt with. There used to be a pier there in the garage when it was a single skin wall before we built the extension, so that's got to be tidied up and repointed here and there, and then we paint the whole thing and put the electrics across the back. But I'll have a think about this back for later. It. That leaves me plenty of space underneath for storing some of the ancillaries, the hoses, spray guns and things like that, which again will help me with storage in here. So maybe a slat across there and another intermediate shelf would be of use. And by chance the shelves, the original metal shelves, are not too far away either. So for the sake of either shortening it by, or shortening the legs by 20mm, or putting some bigger runners on, I can actually use the metal shelves, or a couple of them under there. Right, that's narrowed the framework down by 20mm and made it much easier just to put a bearer on for a shelf. I'll probably just put the one in at the moment and see how it goes. There is room to put another shelf in, but it probably will be useless, so we'll see how we get on with that anyway. Just going to put another layer on the other half of the bench, which I think will also have pretty spectacular results. Again, from something that was covered in dust and water damage, it should look pretty good. Brings out the peely nicely. Then when this is dry, I'll put a layer on the other side of this and the garage bench, the main bench. I'm a great believer in keeping the finishes equalised on both sides to stop any chance of warping through, it being more moisture attractive on one side than another or anything like that. I don't know how much science there is in it, but it certainly seems to have worked on the shed itself, on the cladding, but it stopped it moving in any way. That's coming up very nicely. Then when that's done, I'll probably just give it a light wax, just to keep it, just keeps some of the spillages under control a bit better. But it's not there for being pretty, really. It's just a side event. I also need to fix the vise. It'll need a clean up and a tidy up, probably get a rebuild at some point in its life, but at the moment it's just useful to have a vise that works. I shall drill a couple of holes through from the top and then counterbore from underneath for bolt heads and put a couple of bolts underneath, because they'll be on top of the rail, I would imagine. I want to get that fixed, that position fixed before I go too far. Just going to put the thing in so that it's clear of these units side, and I'll probably just space it a little bit away. That gives me a little bit of leeway so that anything I put in there will be not foul the units themselves. And then it's a job to know whether to put it right close up against the side or whether to move it across a bit. I think I'll just leave it slightly clear. I don't quite know why at the moment, and I can always move it again later if I want to. I think if I mount it on that slat there, yeah, still got plenty of working space over there. So that's the position. We'll just mark that and drill down from the top with a small pilot hole and come back in from the other side when it's dried off. That's it as far as I'm taking it at the moment. I've got what I wanted, which is all of the equipment roughly in the right place. There's a whole lot more got to be done, and there's no point in getting this fixed properly into place, levelled, because at the moment it's sloping down that way, until I've got the walls sorted, until I've got the ceiling plastered, and also I want to get some levelling screed on the floor, which is why it's tilting forward, and probably some floor covering, some sort of rubber or PVC flooring. So we will move on now onto, I think, getting the plastering ready to go. I think that's the next big job. I've got everything in here roughly in the right places. I'm leaving again storage up there. I'm debating whether to have a tool wall there, whether to have cupboards up there, or whether to have shelves up there. And I need to really just have a think about that and decide where I want to go with that. But again, that won't stop us getting on we've essentially got most of the materials where they need to be. So I hope that was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week, and we'll be building something different, and I'll see you then. Bye.